Is the harlot of Revelation 17 the same as Babylon of Revelation 18? Mystery Babylon. The primary issue among interpreters in regard to the harlot is whether she is to be understood as being a separate but related entity to Babylon, the city. Many interpreters take her to be a separate ecclesiastical system at the time of the end, which undergoes a separate judgment and destruction than Babylon, the city. This view is based on a number of points. Number 1, mystery is written on the woman's forehead, Revelation 17, verse 5. Some take this as a part of her title, denoting her mysterious nature and identity. Number 2, religious aspects of the harlot are thought to be more strongly emphasized in Revelation 17, whereas Revelation 18 emphasizes commercial aspects. And number 3, if modern ecumenical liberalism continues, then it seems likely that religious systems will eventually amalgamate into a one-world global religion at the time of the end. 1 or 2 Babylons. Many conclude that the harlot represents a religious system, whereas the city, Revelation 18, represents a commercial system. This view holds that what is said concerning the harlot, and the very fact that she is said to be a harlot, necessitates a purely religious role for her. Conversely, the commercial emphasis of Revelation 18 speaks more of a commercial system and a city. An unfortunate contributor to this separation into 2 parts is the chapter division between Revelation 17 and Revelation 18, which masks the unity of the entire passage. Since chapter divisions are not part of the inspired text, we need to be cognizant of their placement and the implicit effects they have on our interpretation. In the case of Revelation 17 and 18, it is true that Revelation 17 speaks more of the spiritual aspects of the harlot, and Revelation 18 emphasizes commercial aspects. But this is not the full story, because both chapters emphasize both aspects and overlap to a much greater degree than many interpreters are willing to admit. The question is, how different from the Babylon of chapter 17 is the Babylon of chapter 18? Undoubtedly, the city is the same in both instances. Both have the name Babylon the Great. Both are guilty of fornication and of causing the kings of the earth and the earth dwellers to imbibe of the wine or the anger of the city's fornication. The destiny of both is to be burned with fire and to become an utter desolation. In both chapters, Babylon is the great city and wears the apparel and adornment of a harlot, and both are responsible for the martyrdom of the faithful saints. Look at the chart on your screen. Look how similar these both are. Revelation 17, while speaking of her harlotry, abominations, and being drunk with the blood of the martyrs of Jesus, also relates her great commercial wealth, arrayed in purple and scarlet, and adorned with gold and precious stones and pearls, having in her hand a golden cup. Moreover, in Revelation 18 forward, speaks of her spiritual aspects. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. The kings of the earth have committed fornication with her. And for by her sorcery all the nations were deceived. In her was found the blood of prophets and saints, and of all who were slain on the earth. When the city of Babylon is finally overthrown, as predicted by the angel, it is said, "He has judged the great harlot who corrupted the earth with her fornication, and he has avenged on her the blood of his servants shed by her." We also note that in the prediction of Babylon's demise by the flying angel, there is not the slightest hint of 2 systems or 2 destructions. Moreover, in the angel's description of Babylon, He calls it a great city, commercial, which is guilty of fornication, spiritual idolatry. Revelation 14, verse 8. There, the self-same Babylon is described using both commercial and spiritual attributes. This unity is also evidenced under the seventh bowl, where Babylon was remembered before God to give her the cup of the wine of the fierceness of his wrath. Revelation 16, verse 19. Only one Babylon is in view, and its destruction is associated with a single judgment, the pouring forth of the last bowl of the wrath of God. We see no evidence of a separate judgment for the harlot and a subsequent judgment of the city, as if they were two different entities. Another factor favoring the unity of Revelation 17 and 18 is the announced mission of the angel sent to John. Quote, "I will show you the judgment of the great harlot who sits on many waters." Revelation 17:1. This angel is with John from Revelation 17 verse 1 throughout both chapters and speaks to him again in Revelation 19:19. The act of showing John the judgment, singular, of the great harlot, singular, spans from Revelation 17 through Revelation 19. The same event is in view the entire time. The angel gives not the slightest indication that John is being shown two entities and two destructions. An end-time religious system? Although the harlot includes both commercial and religious aspects, many have minimized her commercial aspects and placed greater emphasis on her religious aspects. The harlot is then seen to be the end-time religious system which precedes the rise of the beast as the sole object of worship. What is found in these verses is the final form of religious apostasy, ending in a one-world superchurch. It is the final form of the woman Jezebel cast into the Great Tribulation, Revelation 2, and united with the Laodicean church. This is the counterfeit bride of Messiah, presented as a prostitute, in contrast with the true bride of Messiah, presented as a pure virgin. During the tribulation, all the world's diverse false religions will be reunited into one great world religion. That ultimate expression of false religion will be an essential element of Antichrist's final world empire in holding together his military, economic, and political structure. Only religion can unite the world in the most compelling way. Now, at this critical juncture, probably the revival of the beast from the dead, the one world worship what you will system of religion, is thought to be put down in order to direct all worship to the beast. Revelation 13 verse 15. The beast, elevating himself over all that is called God, 2 Thessalonians 2:4, and empowered by the worship-hungry dragon, will not allow competition. So the worldwide ecumenical movement, which rode him as the harlot, will then be viciously turned upon and destroyed. Having used the false religious system to help him gain control of the world, Antichrist will discard it. In his rampant megalomania, he will want the world to worship only him. He will also no doubt covet the vast wealth of the false religious system. Thus he will turn on the harlot. Thus the religious state of the end time is thought to be characterized by two phases. During the first phase, ecumenical globalism is pervasive. During the second phase, only the Antichrist is worshipped. Just as there will be two political systems during the tribulation, one during the first half, the 10 kings, and one during the second half, the Antichrist, there will also be two religious systems, one for each half of the tribulation. This passage describes the religious system of the first half of the tribulation. It is indeed surprising how any mistake could have been made in the identification of this woman. For the Holy Spirit first shows us her very name upon her forehead. Then in Revelation 17 verse 18, he tells us as plainly as words can tell anything that the woman which you saw is the great city which reigns over the kings of the earth. And Revelation 16 verse 19 as well as Revelation 17 verse 5 identifies the city with Babylon. God says it is a city. He does not say a system or a religion, but a city. The woman is identified as the great city, whose fall is described in chapter 18. From internal evidence, the identity of Babylon, the woman, with the Babylon, the great city, is so unmistakable that it would be inappropriate to make them different entities. In conclusion, various astute rulers in the long history of human government, rightly estimating the tremendous power of religion over the minds of men, have been greatly intrigued with the idea of some kind of union between church and state, in which the government would establish and support some widely accepted religion, and this religion in turn would lend its influence to the state. All such alliances, thus humanly originated, have been based on selfish motives and opportunistic policies on both sides, and hence must always break down in the end. Since each side pays a price for their unnatural union, and the price is ever increasing, the break becomes inevitable. A union between church and state is safe only when inaugurated and controlled by the one true God in a kingdom of his own. Maranatha.